Hello everyone, thanks for joining us. This is a collaboration between University of Adelaide, Griffith and La Trobe University Golden Key chapters, where we are coming together to host the second webinar in our mini-series. This will be available later on demand to download and watch from our Facebook pages. And here's Molly from the University of Adelaide to introduce our speaker for today.
So our speaker today is Mr Choo and his colleagues from STEMSEL Foundation Inc. STEMSEL stands for Science, Technology, Engineering and Math Social Enterprise Learning. Often dubbed as the curriculum of the future and the next wave in education, STEM is proving to be an approach to education that is being adopted by leading institutions to adapt to the rapidly changing future and to produce the next skilled generation of workers. STEMSEL focuses on developing apps to simplify coding to make smart products which rely heavily on STEM knowledge. Mr Choo holds the positions of Deputy Vice-Chancellor, International Collaboration of Central University Institute in Bamenda, Cameroon, Director of Chia Phuong Khun Foundation, UN Economic Social Council, accredited NGO in Cameroon, and is an organizational life member of Asia Regional Training Development Organization. Additionally, one of their STEMSEL interns was awarded the New Colombo Plan Scholarship to study in Hong Kong for his work using running case studies to encourage 100 international students to come to Adelaide to study, contributing 10 million to South Australia's economy. And I'll pass over to Mr Choo to begin his presentation.
Thank you so much, Molly, for the introduction. And thank you, Kate, for organizing this, all of you, and Fred as well from Singapore. And we have Miro here. He's the technical director of STEMSEL Foundation. So by way of introduction, I suppose I'm just wondering whether I am actually a golden key. Yes. You know, yeah, because when I look back of my own journey, I actually was able to cut short my education by about 2 years, the years of schooling and university. So I'm not sure how you measure golden key, but my golden key, I believe, is non-stop. Is a journey that continue until today, and based on that cutting short of 2 years of my education in high school, 1 year, and then going to pre-university, I cut short another year, and university is hard to cut short anymore. Is in Leeds University that I gained my electronic engineering degree, 3 years. But that is the foundation of what I do in terms of looking at opportunity, and you really have to grab it. And you especially in my days, I can still maybe have the luxury of delaying. But today, with Internet of Things, with Wi-Fi and so forth, if you just delay a little bit, you will be behind already. So I think I open up my discussion with that. And so based on today's theme of STEM education, and obviously I relate that to the money aspect. So let's go into first, what is STEM education? Why is it so important? So we have a slogan. We call it no STEM, no money, no security, right? And that applies to an individual family. I think I'm not saying that because our STEM social enterprise learning include humanities, right? STEMSEL. So even though I talk about STEM, it's actually holistically all the courses put together. Yeah, because this technology that we invented called run-link easy coding actually cuts across all courses. So in other words, humanities students, art students, law students, all welcome, especially them, because in STEM, they are, I think at the moment, totally excluded. So let's see why no STEM, no money, no security for individual family, because everybody is talking about digitization. And that's, I suppose, our experience in 10, 15 other countries, that is their focus. Australian focus, I think, is the same, even though we are more holistic, that we want to balance things a bit more. Some countries are just totally STEM in order to survive. And who says STEM is important? That maybe the best example is PricewaterhouseCoopers. That came out with a STEM economy report about 2015, but they keep updating it. And obviously now you have KPMG, you have Deloitte, Ernst & Young, all similarly pursuing no STEM, no money, no security. And PwC says, if you shift 1% of your workforce, not population, your workforce of any country, I suppose, into STEM jobs. In the case of Australia, our GDP will increase by about $57 billion per year. That's a lot of money. I think that may be just a little bit more than what we are getting from international students before the pandemic. So we rely heavily on that STEM, that significance. And then I come quickly now as to why am I talking today is because that report is difficult to implement simply because STEM needs coding. And coding, programming of microchips, you broadly can break it down into difficult coding and easy coding. With the report based purely on STEM coding, the $57 billion is hard to achieve because the blockage is basically difficult coding. 99.9% chance anywhere in the world, students, engineers will be confronted with difficult coding. The C++, for those who understand what I'm talking about, the Python, you know, the Arduino, the Raspberry Pi, words like that, I'm sure you would have heard about. So, and the case studies are ample by STEM professors from Bhutan, the first one, and IEEE blind review, and published in Springer in Singapore. And that comparative research basically concluded that difficult coding is hard to use, hard to teach. It's a waste of time and money. That's possibly the best way to put it. So what have we got as a solution then from South Australia, for Australia? And that is available to unblock that challenge. Is generically, we call it easy coding. And so, in other words, giving you an example, to make a smart alarm to protect your house, your assets, anywhere in the world, from wherever you are to anywhere in the world to make an alarm. Like for instance, Miro will show you, you in New South Wales will be able to program a Wi-Fi chip in Australia, in Adelaide, and make the alarm, which can activate a drone, even in Thailand. I want to get your mind correctly in the picture in your mind that from New South Wales, from Sydney, you'll be able to program a Wi-Fi chip in Adelaide that has our technology in it, that will be able to activate a drone in USA, in Thailand, or anywhere in the world through the internet. So what is this alarm consist of then that can do that to give you the competitive advantage? 6 lines of coding compared to hundreds of lines of coding, you'll be able to make the alarm. And you can start from, because it's so a few lines of coding, it's so easy to use, you can start from about 10, 11 years old. And these 10, 11 years old, in that performance is basically doing Internet of Things and artificial intelligence. And obviously a lot of case studies from students in universities, and they found it quite amazing that they have to use a few hundred lines of coding and most of them cannot finish the project. And so that is the background of the competitive advantage of an Australian technology. I suppose it's just like Australia invented Wi-Fi and literally change the world in terms of, connecting people together for better or for worse, right? Because as you know, today, maybe the way to sum it up of this technology is actually an Internet of Things and artificial intelligence technology. As we all know, AI can be used for very, very good application, and it can also, in the reverse, used for very wrong things. Like you can control people with AI, right? I think television, you've seen it now. Google it, you see it, right? Facial recognition, they give you social credit. The machine will do that for you. Yeah, you cannot fly from Sydney to Melbourne if your social credit is less than a certain percentage, like 50%, let's say. For whatever reason, the machine, of course, programmed by humans, decided that your credit is not enough to buy the ticket. So that's just one extreme example. And obviously, it leads to then, when we look at war and things like that, is that the sort of war that is real? What we're seeing now in, for instance, in Ukraine and Russia, it is actually, the real war is actually between human and machine. And it started already. And nobody even talk about that, hardly, other than we read about it and thinking that it's coming. It is here already, it's not coming. And it's going to get worse, especially with technology like what you have just heard, and Miro will show you, that more and more technology like this will come. But of course, you see the word STEMSEL. The social enterprise part of it is to counterbalance that. You're giving access to kids, to children as young as 10, 11 years old, access to technology that, well, I've just told you, they can make alarm from Malaysia and program the Wi-Fi chip with 6 lines of code, which is not possible with the current difficult coding. STEM professors from Malaysia, from Thailand, have verified that, right? Because they found it impossible to teach in uni. So then I quantify by how do we have golden key students to gain jobs? That is just the background, right? So how do you use the competitive advantage of 6 lines compared to few hundred lines of coding to save time? Yeah, obviously, six lines will take a very short time compared to a few hundred lines of coding. Time equal to money. So let's quantify that by, there is a 1,000 teacher in Sydney using difficult coding, or in Adelaide, or in Melbourne, or in Singapore. Times that by $1,000 per year to teach that subject. So that is all Golden Key have to do, is to make that case study of $1 million that they can save or stop wasting. I prefer the word stop wasting than to save money. Stop wasting money. I think that will get people moving. So Golden Key students, the opportunity now is, if you want to work for Google, show them how you make money for them and stop them wasting money. You want to work for the government, the same thing. You want to work for anybody, it's the same thing. Stop wasting money using difficult coding. The inevitability is there. Australian government in Malaysia now call this technology RunLink, RUNLINC, easy coding, a disruptive technology. I just wanted to know why you call it disruptive. Well, with kids as young as primary school students in school can do the things that uni students find it challenging. Is that disruption to the curriculum? Is that a change that you have to have? So they said yes. So we have now university in Malaysia that the Australian government is helping to export this to them and onward from there. United States, the same. Anyway, we have an Australian High Commission, we do that. In Nepal, in Africa, we do the same. So Australia is very well set up to put itself on the map and lead this in a way, the counterbalance of machine versus human. So the clarity, I hope, is how do you save that, well, stop the waste of the money? It's all you have to do. That PricewaterhouseCoopers STEM economy implementation will be next to impossible to get the numbers, right? Because of your difficult coding. Because no STEM, no money, no security. STEM necessarily needs coding. You can't escape that. There's no such thing as STEM without coding. For instance, you're teaching biology, chemistry, physics, and you need sensing, data logging, control for your experiment. So if the physics teacher teach you how to make the light sensor or the temperature sensor, the biology teacher will have to use that for the growing of the hydroponics mud farm. And then the chemistry teaching will tell you how much pH to put in there. So these are necessarily to achieve that sensing, the data logging, and the control, you need coding. Coding is programming the microchip. The example I gave was 6 lines to make a smart alarm. And 12-year-old kids presented to the minister just 27th of May in one of the largest young inventors competition. These are 12-year-old kids. And they told the minister, look at the drone. Amiro will show you. It takes only 6 lines of code to make the alarm. When you cover the light sensor, somebody come to your house, they block the light sensor, the drone will take off. Take a video of you, send it to the police with your GPS position. And I don't think you'll ever come back again because your facial recognition is there already. They know exactly where you live, how many crimes you have committed, which school you go to, who's your father, your mother, and what's your blood type. Yeah, these are all already available. So kids can do that. And then they said to the minister, I want all the kids in Malaysia to use Running Easy Coding because they're wasting their parents' money. Yeah, I go to a coding club. This 12-year-old tell the minister, and my mother has to pay maybe 1,000 Australian dollars per year. And what did I learn? Of course, 99.9% chance, difficult coding. So I wouldn't be here talking to you, Minister, if I didn't change to easy coding. I will be still debugging, looking for a problem. And so the minister then told the STEM advisors, there's about 6, 7 of them around him, go and change it from difficult coding to easy coding. Stop embarrassing me. I think the driving force here is embarrassment. So then we have a STEM professor now, got funding from the science minister. This is another minister coming here. I wish Golden Key can host her in Adelaide. She's coming to Adelaide in September. Yeah, I hope that we have a chance, maybe, physically in Adelaide, but virtually around the world. Beam it through. And she's going to come here to share her experience of using Australian technology to get their job done quickly in terms of skilling of STEM, which PricewaterhouseCoopers say, if you increase it by 1% in Australia's case, 25 million population, $57 billion, which is not possible to achieve. So why is she here though? How is that going to impact on our branding? Have you heard of us? I bet you haven't heard of us if Charlie hasn't told you about me. Yeah, we spend most of our time, 90% of our time overseas because of the difficulty of getting people to listen to us. I'm not being negative, that's the truth. Yeah, we were told this technology is so powerful, you would devalue the rate, at the moment, if you know how to program in defense, $300 per hour. It may become $30 per hour because everybody will be able to program. This is the sort of thing that we meet here in Australia. So this lady and her students are coming here is to share experience that you have to really align together. If not, your own technology, you don't need us to come to Australia to tell you how good it is. So that will affect our branding globally. Because people ask questions, how come I never heard of it in Australia being used in school? Because of situation like that, that is so good that it will destroy jobs. We're here to create jobs. We are creating jobs in America, in Malaysia, in Thailand, in India. Curriculum is being written by a college now, university college. So anyway, that should not be a major problem. I think people have enough common sense. There's a few people that trying to think that this is going to destroy jobs. I think we are going to create a lot of jobs. So moving forward, how do we work together with the Australian government? So straight away, you see, Golden Key of America. I'm not sure Victoria from Temple University, she got the right link. She's from Cameroon, from Africa, where I have a lot of work there. As I think you read out that I'm actually a board of director of an NGO in Cameroon that is accredited by United Nations, so what do you call, Economic Social Council. And so as a board member, today I can make all the Golden Keys a member of that NGO too. So you have a new title now. You are accredited by United Nations. Go and show off to the High Commission everywhere in the world. Because this is necessarily something that when I talk about saving money or stop wasting money, it affects everybody. Yeah, I always try to show it as a 7th circle. You know, first you start with the parents, like the little kids. Say, I saved my mother 1,000 Australian dollars by going to club, by changing from difficult coding to easy coding, because I can win competition. And then I could pay her back the money that she spent. Then you escalate it upwards to schools, and then universities, and then to government, how much money they're wasting there. And then on to United Nations. You know, they spend hundreds of millions, billions of dollars on STEM education. Anybody who spends money on STEM education, at the moment, 99.9% chance they are wasting their time and money. It's like burning your money. And then you escalate it upwards to Google, to Microsoft. They also support. Even charity is hard-earned money. They beg around for money. That part of the money is spent on, obviously, education. What education? STEM education, which necessarily needs coding. So suffice of that is, what opportunity do we bring to Golden Key? We need this elite group of students. Like you also make the introduction, that was the Hugh Grano, who won the New Columbus Plan Scholarship. I thought he was a Golden Key, but maybe you don't need to be a Golden Key to win the New Columbus Plan Scholarship. And 6 months before he graduated, he worked for the Commonwealth Bank on artificial intelligence. You know, I was wondering, you are an engineer, how come you work for the bank? Things have changed. Bank needs disciplined engineers who can work out how to identify, you know, different areas of interest using artificial intelligence. So it cut across everything. Maybe just to simplify, what is AI? So that you take away a message from me. In the layman terms, mom and dad. Yeah, Miro is the one who does all the technical. I do all the simplification of the conversation, because it's really hard to understand the technical part of it, difficult coding, right? So artificial intelligence, if you make it into a simple equation equal to microchip programming or not, as a question, because I talk about microchip programming, coding, right? In order to, chips come, you can buy chips from the shop, it's empty. You have to put some intelligence in it, the coding, the program, to make it start doing something for you. Like a driverless car, you need lots of that, right? Your alarm, you need coding. Your microwave, your fridge, If not, you can't sell nothing today if you don't have a code in it. That's as severe as that. And so how do we then tell mom and dad artificial intelligence is equal to microchip programming? If you think about it, microchip is actually artificial brain. Yeah, and then the rest is easy already. Programming is equal to intelligence. So every microchip you see in the world, controlling your traffic lights, your camera, is actually AI at play. Just to demonstrate what Professor Hawking has said, you Google it. When AI is fully developed, which I call it microchip programming, it could spell the end of human race. Yeah, for men who use AI to speak, you know, his mobility is controlled by AI actually for many years because of the disease that he has, the motor neuron disease or something. And then you got Elon Musk using AI to get onto the moon and so forth, right? Without that, no go. That's it. Life depends on AI. Your water that you drink depends on AI, microchip programming. So Prime Minister of Singapore, if Fred can remember, went on television with his deputy minister, and he drank a glass of water. He said, this is called new water. And what is that new water? It's actually from the sewer, because Singapore has no water. The water comes from either the sea, you desalinate it, very, very expensive at the moment, or part of it comes from Malaysia through the pipes. And so we need water. Water is gold for Singapore. But what is the thing that you see there is actually difficult coding that has made it possible. Without the coding, you won't be able to do that. You know, I remember many years ago, the 100-year drought, and you get fined if you wash your car. Yeah. And so water is so precious, you need to make sure that it's drinkable with coding. Some say, look, get it from the sky, you know, the rain. Today it's full of cadmium, iron, heavy metal. You know, so it's not even safe from the sky. You need to filter it, you need to sense it to make sure that the right chemicals is there for you to drink. So then what is this technology in a nutshell then? It's actually a web page inside a Wi-Fi chip for those who are technical, but I make it so simple that it is what it is. The invention is actually a web page inside a Wi-Fi chip, the size of your thumbnail. Nero can show you the chip there, and the Wi-Fi chip that have you got it, Nero? And so inside this Wi-Fi chip, you have the web page. So imagine this web page that I talked about, running easy coding, is inside the Wi-Fi chip that you open with your browser. So anywhere in the world.
Can we just get Miro to actually speak
do the demo,
and it'll just bring it up on the big screen for us.
Okay, just so that you can see
on screen share
this as well, so can focus on this.
Yeah. So
that's the Wi-Fi chip.
Yeah, while he does that, I suppose I can see quite clearly. To save time, I'll just keep going, right? So inside this Wi-Fi chip, kids 12 years old from Malaysia, from Bhutan, from Thailand can program it using their browser, Google Chrome. Okay, they open it on their laptop. Then they can program this with 6 lines of code to make a smart alarm with a light sensor on there. So if you cover the light sensor, it will trigger off a drone either here in my office to look for the intruder, or it can trigger off a drone in America, in Thailand. That's the capability. So it is a web page that can, if you see there, breaking it down, is sensing of the light sensor attached there. You can have temperature sensor, you have all sort of sensor, just plug and play. And then you have data logging. Kids can plot graphs, real-time graphs onto their own website. They will use Running to make their own website with two lines of code. You can make a web page. Miro will show you later. And then control. So these are the 3 basic elements of sensing, data logging, control. Then obviously this page can now be accessing Internet of Things because it's inside the Internet, you see. We program inside the Internet, no longer inside the computer to download it to a chip. 99.9% at the moment, you have to do that. So we are the first company to be able to program inside the web page, the browser, to do sensing, data logging control, IoT and AI, right? And so I think I've covered that pretty well. And the reminder is, if the Australian government in Malaysia is calling a disruptive technology, how can you capitalize on that? I mean, look at today, after the COVID, right? Everything's going up. Yeah. So this is a good chance to make a lot of money for Australia so that we can cushion ourselves over the next few years, which is really hard. Power prices, everything is going up, and huge amount of people under stress. Is that what golden key students, 12,000 of them? I think you need only a handful in order to make this change for Australia. You know, the strategy is how to increase for those who are non-technical into, especially those marketing students, commerce students. How do you use this technology to increase customers to any business in the world? University is a business. How do you attract students to Wollongong University in Malaysia? Very easy. You use this to show them that you have the capability of completing the most important of the assignment is Internet of Things, which is part of the assessment now, with a few lines of code. Compared to hundreds of lines, it gets exponentially more difficult. Yeah, so stop wasting time and money. Is the best conversation that you can have in order to save that money. Making money is saving money is making money anyway. I stop you from wasting $1 billion US in India per year. 1 million teachers times $1,000 US. We become the best friend of India right away. See how I develop friendship, right? So it's actually a diplomacy. You got Penny Wong going to Solomon Islands everywhere. Use that as your best means of skilling people. Help them to stop. You see, we always lose the focus of skilling people. Why not stop them from wasting money? Easier to stop people from wasting money to skill them for years, right? Of course, we want to skill them. But the conversation should be now, not 3 years, 5 years later. Because we are stressed out already in Australia at the moment. Yeah, I'm sure the rest of the world is stressed too. So why don't we de-stress together? De-stressing together. Yeah. And you start with a nominal figure of 1,000 teachers times $1,000 US. So every golden key student, whether it's BIG4 from Temple University in America, should have that case study and walk straight into the Australian High Commission in Washington and tell them, this is it. You don't have time to waste, you know? And so that's 6 lines of coding. By the way, Miro will show you. 1 line is to create vision between your laptop and my camera anywhere in the world, right? As long as the Wi-Fi chip is in place. And then 2 lines of code, you can make your own web page with 2 buttons and you can turn things on and off. Like in Malaysia, the 12-year-old, one of the best young inventors, they have voice command, AI voice command that can on the pump, you know, on the light anywhere in the world with AI voice command, 12-year-old kids. And so 3 lines, then you change the text to the, what do you call, to the AI voice, you see. So 1 + 2 + 3 is a simple example that all you need is to gain your attention of anybody in order to tell them, stop wasting money. I'm not here to talk about skilling you. You skill it yourself. I got the technology. You stop wasting money, you know. And so my, before Miro take over, my strong interest now is whether you can consider, think about it, Golden Key hosting this STEM professor from Malaysia. I think many of them will come. For now, just a student, award-winning student. And their trip is funded by minister. So if you have the chance to get involved, organize your minister in New South Wales or your minister in Melbourne, hopefully they'll get over there. I think she graduated from Canberra. So if you have Golden Key in Canberra, organize a meeting with ministers. Defense department managers are helping to organize them to go to space, to give share the experience of this technology at the space center in Adelaide, as well as some of the defense places. And university, obviously, Molly, if you have the chance to organize that, I'm sure they'll be happy to go there. I'm just making an appointment. We got time. It's September, And so lastly, as a summary, before you go through what Miro will show you, the 6 lines of code to make the alarm compared to a few hundred lines, what is the strategy to globalize this? Do one drone demonstration every day. 365 schools, 365 days. The rest is up to you to escalate it. You can multiply by 10 times. But minimally, to put any individual, any school, any university on the map, one drone demo per day. To do that drone demo means what Miro is going to show you, the 6 lines, to show them how to stop wasting money and time. And the other last strategy important as a matter of practice is increase customers to any businesses anywhere in the world by helping the customers' children to win STEM competition with that 6 lines of coding and plus more. But minimally, the alarm. Alarm can be used unintrusively to protect anything that you want anywhere in the world, right? You don't have to use my technology other than to make an alarm with 6 lines of code to protect it. Like you have a chicken farming, you want 6 lines of code to protect your chicken and the eggs that they lay, right? Otherwise, in Africa, it could be stolen. That's all I have to connect with anybody in the world, right? And if you are able to do this demo, one drone demo every day, our experience is we always become keynote speaker. When we're invited to webinars, like the National STEM Association of Malaysia, the president invited Thailand, Indonesia to do that discussion like now, and then Miro do the drone demo. We become the keynote speaker for the Southeast Asia STEM conference. And from there, we just take off. This is only about 6 months ago. So I'll stop here and let Miro go through the exciting of how you see the world differently today with just a few lines of code. Thank you.
Thank you, Peng. So at the moment, we're going to talk about a very different technology than what you've seen before. Industry Revolution 1 was actually steam power. Industry Revolution 2 was automation. Industry Revolution 3 means that we also put computers onto that, and that obviously has gone into all industries. IR 4.0 is now Internet of Things. So internet has also been used all over the world for all of the technologies, the businesses, etc. And then Industry Revolution 5.0 is actually artificial intelligence. So obviously a combination of the computer, the IoT and the intelligence together would mean that we can cover the latest technologies. Now, at the moment, trying to do Internet of Things for most people means using actually IR 3.0 computers to try to connect to the internet, to go to the cloud, to create a web page, etc. becomes very difficult. This technology I'm about to show you actually has direct connection inside the IoT so that it can access not only the computers, the microchips, but also to access the artificial intelligence, which is already in a lot of the cloud systems as well at the same time. We call this run link because it can run and link all of these technologies together without having to repeat the coding inside of the technologies. Now, we already use such things because we install apps on our phone, etc., which are provided, but this can actually be used on any browser. We prefer the Chrome browser because it also includes many functions for connection as well. So what I want to do is just run through very quickly what we are about to show you. This technology. Okay, share this one. Okay, having difficulty accessing the full screen. That's okay. All right, so just going through what is RunLink. We also have an example here of RunLink versus trying to do something like an Arduino, which is 3.0 technology, trying to get that computer to actually create a web page and create, for example, buttons to control anything across the internet. So the RunLink we're going to show is actually, for example, just one line of code to create vision on the web page. The RunLink actually can create a web page as well, direct interface, one line of code, 2 lines of code, we can create 2 buttons to control anything anywhere, and also 3 lines of code. We can also create artificial intelligence voice synthesis from text. So it only takes 3 lines of code to actually access that, also in the easy coding. What I'm going to do now is ask one of our interns. We have an intern from University of South Australia, and we do take internships remote as well. We have internships across Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, for example. So Tiani is actually going to share the web page, which is inside my microchip here in Adelaide. Okay. So Tiani, can you actually share that with us? Because what I want to show you is this technology across the internet. So what Tiani here is sharing is the page, which is the RunLink page inside my Wi-Fi chip. Now, this page we want to only share with Tiani because what we have done is done a direct connection across the internet to the Wi-Fi chip page. Because the Wi-Fi chip here actually has direct access to the ports, we can then, for example, take this port with the blue wire and the relay box and connect it to a lamp for turning on and off. There are port numbers here. So Tiani, go to port D13 and activate it as a digital out. So I'm going from the beginning, obviously, here. And we have directly then a status. The status is that there is a signal here, but the signal is off. So we can actually test that directly by pressing the off button. So Tiani, which is not here in the office, is going across the internet to do this, but my lamp still turns on immediately. Okay, doesn't go to any cloud server, just does it directly. And we can turn that off as well. Just yesterday, we did the same thing with Africa as well. We actually had quite a few people there and students. So this can be a water pump, it could be a fan, etc., but it's a lamp. So in the name, we can connect it to the code by simply creating a variable called lamp. And Tiani, just type in the word lamp in the name next to the on button, the red off button. Yeah, so we just type in the word lamp. Okay, that's good. I also have here an input which is measuring light. It's a light sensor, and it creates a voltage And the microchip can then turn that voltage analog to digital. So it becomes a digital number, digital technology. It's connected to D33. So Tiani, go down to D33 and to make it an analog in, so we can see the converted number. And then on the web page, what will happen is we have the number 8 in the status. That is the digital number. If I cover that, it actually goes up. If I uncover it, goes down. Okay, remember Tiani is actually in a remote location. Okay, so just type in the word sensor, because this could be a temperature sensor, it could be a pH sensor, it could be a moisture sensor, it could be many sensors, and we will treat it exactly the same way, and then we can actually use those in the coding. So what I'm going to do, just to save a little bit of time, is I'm going to send Tiani the code to put in for our automated control of the lamp using the sensor. So for example, today we are building a smart alarm. So what we want to do is when the intruder comes, like on the light sensor, turn on the lamp automatically. So these are just a few lines of code to do that. Very easy. Basically, if we measure the sensor and it's greater than 80, then we want to turn on the lamp. So Tiani, if you can copy that into the JavaScript loop. JavaScript is the native language of the internet and the browsers, and obviously the browsers are what we have as an interface to us. If you put it into the loop, then it will repeat. So if you can just cut that and put it into the loop box, which is the last one, then it will repeat the code. Okay, and then all you need to do is go up next to the stop code, the red button, and press the run code. And we have here, obviously, the lamp. We have the sensor. If I cover the sensor now, then the number goes up over 80 and the lamp turns on. If I uncover it, then the number actually goes down and the lamp will turn off. Like I said, it could be a moisture sensor on the pump, temperature sensor on the fan. Many applications, obviously, for that. But today we're going to say it's an intruder alarm. What we want to add to this alarm now is a web page with buttons, on-off buttons for an alarm, so that Tiani can activate an alarm here to tell the intruder that he has been detected and that to go away, basically. So I'll put in the code for the HTML, which is also part of this page. And in fact, running can create a complete web page. And by the way, this actually works also without the internet. Now that may surprise some of you, but because it's actually a local IP connection to the chip, you can simply open it to the chip on your local network. Okay, so we're putting these simple lines of code, easy coding. Simply, we have a heading. H1 is a large heading, alarm control web page, putting that into the HTML box. And you can see that each of the buttons is very simple. Button, when we click the button, turn on the buzzer. And on the top, we have a heading alarm on. That's the button. So it's only one line of code to create a button, 2 lines of code to create an on-off button. We haven't defined button yet. So Tiani, on D23, we have a button. So that also needs to be a digital out, so we can turn it on and off. And just type in the word button in the name. Sorry, buzzer, isn't it? Turn on buzzer, turn off buzzer. Okay, the button is to turn on the buzzer. So type in the word buzzer. Okay, in the code we have turn on buzzer, turn off buzzer. So if you simply click the run code and then go down to the underneath the ports, and maybe you can zoom your page a little bit bigger because it is a little bit small on the screen, so we can see a little bit better. But you can see the web page there, alarm control web page. It has on-off buttons on the web page itself, which is connected through that simple code. So if you press the alarm on, Tiani, on the web page itself, we can hear the buzzer. I actually have a buzzer here connected, okay, directly. And to press the alarm off button, it is actually quite loud. Okay, so we have direct access then to the web page. We can create buttons. We can also take information from the sensor, put it onto the web page, graphs, and even with one line of code, we can do video streaming from an IP device, such as a phone, which obviously can connect to the network. So the runlink can connect into other things on the network at the same time to have the project. It doesn't have to be just two places between me and Tiani, but also a phone could be connected into the network, or there could be an IP camera. So what I'm going to do now is actually connect an IP camera with the one line of code, but the camera will be on this drone. It's a Wi-Fi drone, so it'll stay connected to the network. We do have sensors so that we have the height of the drone, which we can put on a graph. And obviously we can have one line of code for each button to control the drone. But the idea of the drone is that it's part of the security alarm, so that the easy coding can actually send it automatically when the intruder is detected. So that's what we want to do to make it also part of the system. So I'll turn on the drone, and Tiani, if you can go to the top of the page and press the stop code, and then the gets button. The runlink can actually send your completed page, and you can obviously save and edit that as well inside the Wi-Fi chip itself, so that it can host the page that you make, but also you can retrieve that as well. So here we have the code for the drone that we are going to show you the easy coding. So let me connect the drone into my Wi-Fi network. It has a small battery, so okay, that seems to be connecting quite well. Just make sure that it is connected. Okay, just checking. Okay, so Tiani, press the run code and then go down to the web page that this actually generates that connects into the drone as well. Okay, so we can see a web page. We have video streaming. We have a graph there as well. So press the start commands. We actually need to send this to the drone to say that we want to connect into it and get data. So press the red button, start commands. Okay, so Tiani, I don't know if you heard an AI voice, but obviously you haven't shared your sound with us as well. So we can't hear the AI voice when we press the buttons. So if you can quickly stop the sharing and then press the share sound tick box, which is on the bottom left-hand corner when you do the share. So just do the share screen again. There's a bottom tick box, and then share the screen, and then press the start commands again.
Drone command.
Okay, so we can hear that. Press the battery percentage. We can see if we can get data from the drone. The top right-hand button, there's get data from drone. Can you press that one? Battery percentage.
Drone get battery.
Okay, so 80%. And temperature degrees C, just check that. There is actually a temperature sensor on the 14
Drone get
microchips
temp.
that actually creates the that actually run the AI and all of the things on the drone. All right, the temperature will go up unless, because it's processing also the video, unless we fly the drone, get some air on it. So press the takeoff button. So we'll just send it a takeoff command under the start commands.
Drone takeoff.
Okay, so we have the drone is taken off, and it will also show up on the graph because we're measuring the data from the distance. But also, Tiani, press the up button so we can see the graph going up.
Drone up 20.
Okay, that's good. Maybe press the turn CW button. We can turn the drone. So these are the commands we can do.
Drone CW 90.
Okay, and then it can even do commands like flips. So we'll do a flip right. Just do a flip right.
Drone flip R.
Okay, all right, and do a flip left. We'll bring it back over here, and then we can
Drone
make it
flip
part
out.
of the security system too. So press the land button.
Drone land.
Okay, that's good. I'm just going to turn that around. Before I do the security, Tiani, maybe just go to the top and press the stop code and run code. We'll just see, okay, the camera is streaming. Okay, it is just a little bit delayed, and all right, that's okay. So you can leave that. At the moment, there is actually code that still checks the sensor. It turns on the lamp. It then has the 3 lines of code for the AI voice saying sending security drone. And it will then go up and do a 360 to take a video to send also to the police. So this will scare, obviously, the intruder, and we'll get data as well. So let's do that. If I go over here and go to the light sensor, it then becomes over 80.
Alert intruder detected sending security drone. Drone takeoff. Drone up 50. Drone CW 360.
Drone CCW 360.
Okay. So the drone goes through the commands inside the coding. As an intruder, I would actually be scared, so I would leave.
Intruder has gone. All safe. Drone land.
Okay, so it's sending command to land. So the drone actually then lands as well. All right, so, but you might think that that's going to take a lot of lines of code to connect into that drone. But Tiani, if you can go down to the JavaScript loop box again, obviously, so just make it a little bit bigger so we can see that last box. Just zoom into it, and at the top you can see that we still have, if the sensor is greater than 80, if the commands are active, then we just turn on the lamp, and then we have a line of code that says alert intruder detected, and anyone can change the text on that and it'll create an AI voice. Also, it can be text from the sensors. So it can say temperature at the moment is a certain amount of temperature, or it's too high or too low, whatever we want to then put into the coding to do that. Recently, I asked a Python expert who was doing AI and doing some demonstrations on how they would do that in Python. He said he's never done that before, even though he was an expert, and maybe suggested that we do a recording and then try to play the recording. Obviously, that is not very flexible if we're trying to get sensor data in the voice as well. Okay. You can see then if it goes under 50, the intruder is gone, then it says the intruder is gone as well. But also you can see the drone takeoff, drone 360, drone CW 360, and that is easy coding as well. And we have a little bit of code at the bottom to update the graph so that it can take the sensor data. Okay, thank you, Tiani, for sharing. And what I would like to do is just open, usually when we have a lot of people, we actually open it for questions, but we could also send some questions also to us if we want to, if anyone there wants to ask more about this RunLink technology, then we'll also give our contact details, of course, where they can access this and use it for their own projects. Students have actually won, obviously, competitions with this, STEM competitions. They've won then scholarship competitions. They've won also then job competitions in the end as well. So there are 3 types of competitions that they end up winning because of the competitive advantage of this type of technology. Thank you, Tiani, for sharing. You can stop the sharing. All right. What I want to do is just emphasize the fact that other technologies, for those students that maybe have not done coding before, to get, for example, an Arduino, which is a common controller, to create a web page with 2 buttons. There is a 20-page document on the procedure for that with hundreds of lines of code, over 100 lines of code, but the procedure is so difficult that our university students couldn't finish it in 10 hours time. So that is how difficult the coding is, and that's what's stopping a lot of STEM students. So our professor in Malaysia, who's also a professor who is teaching coding for many years, said that often he has a class of 20 which drop down to maybe 3 or 4 students because they find it too difficult to actually carry on with this type of coding. So this is going to make then quite a difference, because the learning curve to learn the coding, the JavaScript, HTML, is become very small. You only need a few lines of code to get started. JavaScript is a professional language used by 70% of the programmers in the world. So it is actually a skill which is very much needed. Obviously, web pages are also needed. So you can create any web page with this. You can create graphs, sensor data, and obviously buttons to control things. So it connects the Internet of Things and AI. One of our students even did 1 line of camera code and then decided that he would like to do object recognition, so the camera can recognize if he puts up an orange, a banana, a mouse, or something like that. And he was only a school student, but managed to get it working, you know, on the RunLink Easy Coding. So we have quite a few examples of that. So I'm going to share that example, the 1 line of code from your phone, and also a couple of buttons and things that you do not need the chip, but we have 7 of these projects using our online RunLinks that you can actually try before having the controller for the Internet of Things. So I'll share that also in the chat box. So that's the demonstration from me. So maybe Pang, if you want to give some comments on that too.
Sure. Thank you, Miro. And I suppose as a matter of interest, is any of you in engineering here or all humanities or arts? Any, Molly, yourself, I didn't even get time to get to know all of you better before this webinar. Are you in the engineering field?
No, I'm in commerce.
Commerce, okay. So you are the PricewaterhouseCoopers type of people. Hopefully you will become one of the senior staff one day, solve their problem, because that's a mighty statement. I mean, research costs maybe about, don't know, $100,000. You look at the report, Miro has the link. And that blockage is difficult coding. Obviously, they have no choice. The whole world, 99.9% use difficult coding. Their report is based on that. It's not their fault. And what about yourself, Kate?
I'm actually doing nutrition through La Trobe. So yeah, nutrition.
We should introduce you to Omar, the 13-year-old boy. He first started making smart greenhouse. He called it solar powered, zero net carbon emission, smart greenhouse. So from that skill that he has, you know, he has to do sensing, data logging, control for his smart greenhouse to grow exotic plants, you see, like vanilla beans or whatever, so that he can sell lots of money. And he then just last week really surprised us. He showed us a video, which Miro will show the link to, of a protein analyzer. So he moved from school-based greenhouse to industry-based protein analyzer through his network in Sudan. 13-year-old boy, school to industry application. So that is just showing us, we are learning a lot from them, that the creativity explodes from these kids. And it was totally blocked by the older technologies called difficult coding. So again, imagine 100 million kids around the world. What sort of number of police you get compared to the robbers? I call it the AI robbers. You know, they steal your money in the banks. If you don't have enough of these police, young kids growing up for the next 5 years to 10 years, you would be overwhelmed with a lot of robbers. There's not enough policemen because of difficult coding. They're not interested. They'll just go and play the Instagram, which is considered now as worse than drugs. Google it, you find it. It's on television and so that. You know, or your TikTok or your social media. They analyze I think the chemicals in the brains is worse. The reaction is worse than the drug, and it goes on longer than the drugs, the effect. So this has a lot of implication in terms of mental health and so forth. You know, technology like this, and we just need. We provide internship, so please send a nice letter out to all your 12,000 members plus those around the world. Do one drone demo per day. We'll teach them how to do it, how to get jobs, because it's like a dark horse at the moment. Yeah, you fly through it without people knowing, and get yourself up there and start changing and creating the balance. Listen to Professor Hawking before he passed away. It is a mighty dangerous world now, and this thing is going unnoticed basically, and hopefully we'll get a bit more balance of kids. You know, you have a lot of professors, like we have Professor Ike from Nigeria, Ibadan University. He specialized in distraction management. So he said this is the best technology to get the kids away from too much of those online activities into doing something useful. You know, so you see all sort of professors will fit in. And so 1st of November, we'll get all of you onto webinars that we go on for those who are interested. 1st of November will be one of the keynotes in the online section of it on distraction management for inclusive education. See, I can't speak the academic words, but I just tell you what I know. You know, that's the truth. They want us to share our experiences. Why not? You know, I think basically Golden Key would be the key to the future here. You know, you got a nice name there, but they need to perform. And it doesn't matter whether they are programmers, you know. As I said, commerce, specializing in commerce like yourself, Molly, isn't that important to be part of this STEM movement? Because we may not be able to convince a PricewaterhouseCoopers because our knowledge is on technical. But your commerce person like you would be able to show, why are you going to waste all this money? You know, PricewaterhouseCoopers is global. Google is global. We just had a Google teacher yesterday from Malaysia, and they are going to get onto this because it's untenable. How could you continue to teach difficult coding now that we have shown you? Because she has about 40 laptops from Google, and they can't use coding other than, you know, your PowerPoint and word processing and things like that. So that is a waste of resource from Google. Google will be so happy, I told her. And she's the top performing, she's the #1 Google trainer. She's a teacher in a Tamil school. And so you see, for her, promotion time. Google will love her. Why not? You're increasing customers to Google. And in Malaysia, there are 3 big companies that compete. Because of the COVID, they have to go online. So you got Google, you got Microsoft, you got Apple. None of them have this technology. So anybody at all, kids, parents, yeah, professors, students, Golden Key around the world, you can have a go at this and change yourself, change the world.
We have had, for example, Carnegie Mellon University students create artificial intelligence examples on their RunLink. So they did a project, first of all, for pollution detection on an image to get the pollution value exactly from that. And then there was a second project as well. They did for the grape growers, they actually did a predictive climate as to when is the best time to pick the grapes. Obviously, looking at where the grapes are up to and what's likely to happen with the climate, so that they can do that prediction as well with the AI. So, and there have been many group projects as well, which students have done, including checking if birds are going to crops, or even a drone to check for fire, smoke and fire as well. So these are the sort of projects also that we would be offering students as well. Obviously, we have biotech, protein analyzer and things like that have come up. So even those type of courses would actually then fit very well.
So internship online, because we're in Adelaide, and then final year project, FYP, they call it. And then we would have STEM professors around the world to support them. So it suddenly opened up international education collaboration, this platform, you know, and so time to fix things. That's what I do, problem solving. You know, a technology, you don't use it to increase value or stop people from wasting money. It needs a lot of creative. It actually unleashed creativity that all of us have, gifted with it. You see, I always go back to the learning is non-stop. I went to a Chinese school. I learned monkey see, monkey do. I go memorization until I go to uni. At too many books to memorize, I go from A's to B to C. So in the end, I learned a lesson that the system today, 80% is memorization, maybe more. And if you don't have a technology platform like that to hands-on making things, America, our STEMSEL America, Temple University, sent us a survey from America. 74% of STEM graduates, science, technology, engineering, maths, biology, chemistry teachers, 74% quit after graduation. And the survey link is there. Miro can send it to the group. Form a chat group, please. I don't know whether it's possible. And share all this information. And they have about 2 million, necessarily 2 million STEM workers that is needed to fill in the vacuum now. And the no STEM, no money, no security is not a joke, it's serious. And if you Google President Reagan, he commissioned a report called A Nation at Risk. And that's based on no STEM, no money, no security. That was many years ago. And why so many years? Today, still 74% quit STEM jobs. Difficult coding. No other reason. And until the invention comes, same as Wi-Fi, we will be using cable. Today is Wi-Fi. And then the Wi-Fi now enable us to program the Wi-Fi chip rather than just buy a black box and connect to the internet. It's more than that now. So Australia is a very clever country. And
thank you so much, Peng, and thank you so much, Miro. I think we'll actually switch to Q&As now, if that's okay. Have you got time for a few questions to be
Absolutely.
on? Okay, that'll be fantastic.
Of course.
Firstly, someone has asked, I see this technology as challenging the whole educational paradigm. Are you saying all technology is running behind and focusing on the wrong thing, that education in all areas needs to shift to thinking on a different level, to how to adapt a new STEM technology such as yours in our respective fields rather than focusing on ground up basics?
Absolutely. You got the opportunity to change things now. And until this platform come about, you just have to front up with 100 lines of coding and limited opportunity. All Runling has done is open up opportunity. Yeah. And so many case studies, like a hotel in Cameroon. Yeah. I said, give me a room, we'll turn it into a drone demonstration center. Why? He said, I want to increase customers to your hotel. How? That drone demonstration room now is manned by our STEMSEL Cameroon. This is in Cameroon. And he do drone demonstration to attract tourists to the hotel by helping the children of the tourists to win competitions, 6 lines of code. He said the same thing to Ghana last night. A Ghanaian gentleman who runs an innovation hub in Ghana, government funded. He said, let's do it. There's no other choice. We're wasting money and time. So there's a lot of people reacting to this now, and join them. So I'm not sure whether I answered the question completely.
If I can also help to answer the question connected to what Peng just said. Obviously, the ground up in learning is actually necessary, but it also can be learned using hands-on techniques as well. So that suddenly this Runling gives opportunities to be able to do experiments, to be able to actually see and do some hands-on in many, many fields. Obviously, all of the science, the technology, the engineering, the maths, the IT, but all of these technologies are used in other fields as well, even economics, as we talked about the banks using AI for credit detection and things like that as well. So this means that this can be done hands-on so that it can be understood, and that ends up meaning that you can actually have skills which end up with the jobs, the STEM jobs.
Totally.
Thanks for that answer. I'll go on to a second question, which is, do you see a social credit system coming to Australia? And if so, when do you think it will come?
Oh dear, I hope that it will never come. Because I don't think we need that. Because that is horrible. That basically using artificial intelligence to control human beings. Because you gather all the data. And I think it's practiced in over 50 countries now. Apparently, the artificial intelligence facial recognition, and what surprised me was it was invented in Australia. by an overseas student in Queensland. And so look at the damage it can do. You know, and so I think it's a matter of, again, more police than robbers. And you can only do that with a technology like that from primary school. Before they start getting distracted into Instagram too much and TikTok and so forth. And so the window of opportunity is there to make this huge change. We got a new government in Australia. They are ready to change. You got 15 independents or something. Go and talk to them. They will listen. Because the change is unavoidable. Those who come first gain. It's always the case, right? And so going back to all this social credit, how do you stop governments from doing that? You tell them, they won't listen. So the only way you do is to align together. Yeah, all your friends align together so that you again break it down into countries, police and robbers. Not just individual. You can break countries into police and robbers. You have more police countries than robber countries, then you have a balance. If not, it will come. Unstoppable. I mean, you have just seen it, right? 12-year-old kids, 11-year-old kids can do things that the uni students find it challenging or not even finishing. So many examples, you know. Until they change, they cannot win nothing, competitions-wise. And no competition win, you are unknown.
This is one of the reasons why we have STEM and SEL. Our STEMSEL is STEM and social enterprise learning. So we actually want to do the social projects for the good of the community rather than using technologies to police people with facial recognition, etc. as well.
See, you were mentioning this person, that was him, with the minister. So be like Hugh Grant. Molly, I think you introduced him just now. He's from Uni Adelaide. So he's the one who won the new Colombo Plan Scholarship, $67,000. And the person that you should seriously connect to is the person at the back of my screen here, Professor Yunus from Bangladesh. He came to Adelaide. He set up a Yunus Social Business Center in Uni Adelaide, Uni SA. I helped him to come here, yeah, in 2018. So this is his book, The 3 Zeros. And he's your friend. Why? He has no solution for the 3 zeros. And his micro businesses are being destroyed by AI. See? Professor Yunus from Bangladesh. For those humanities students, go to your YSBC in Uni Adelaide. Yunus Social Business Center. Revive it. I think it's going to sleep now because I was so busy, I never pay any more attention to it. So if it still exists, because we work with Yunus to try to globalize this. So that's another avenue besides Google and Microsoft. Because you guys have a secret that all these giants don't have, the institution. Use it. Do you know?
Great, I'll definitely talk to the uni about that. And for the last question, it sounds like a pivotal time in history whether Australia gets on board and gets familiar with the new technology or gets left behind. What are the implications of not getting on board and changing how we approach education and getting more people trained up other than financial?
So I think it's a balance. You need money. No money is I grew up with no money, no talk when I was a young kid. That's true today, every day, no money, no talk. So this is going to create a lot of good money. Yeah, as I said, debate among yourselves. Is saving $1 million US making money? You have to make the money from somewhere to burn it. It's burnt. The blockage is difficult coding, not interested. They go and spend 4 years doing STEM degree and quit. That must be scary in America. That must be making them sleep with their eyes open because no money, no STEM, no money, no security. You're wide open. So zero in on the critical components of this conversation. No STEM, no money, no security. The rest is important, but you have to set priorities. So to answer the question, yes, you not just left behind, you will be attacked. Jobs, everything. Because you can't make the money that the people are making. Imagine 100 million kids are using this technology. Imagine that some countries have 100 million kids, students, children. From first day in primary school, they are exposed to AI. Imagine that scenario for the next 10 years. You need to create a balance. It's not many countries with 100 million kids, you know. It's up to you to analyze it. Where do we stand? Ask Penny Wong. You know, so this thing is in the hands of golden key, the high achievers. Yeah, my golden key is I jumped 2 years in school. Today I'm using it to jump many years, leapfrogging. And the social part of this is just divert a little bit. I received a WhatsApp from my friend in Nepal, where he introduced us to the Australian government there. And we have a $500,000 project there on smart farming and gender equality. You can solve all the United Nations SDG, by the way, if you're looking for targets. The gender equality, UN SDG number 5. We use UN SDG number 4, quality education, to solve that problem. While parents are doing smart farming, they're very, very poor there, yeah, because of the pandemic, post-pandemic recovery. And then the kids are drawing up websites and putting their live data, live stream data, real-time data onto the website. Doesn't that give the girls access to education? When they are being kidnapped, don't know where they disappear to through India to the rest of the world, Nepal. So that is the social part of it that we engage in. And so this thing has a huge amount of virtually instant. What you want is what you get with Runling. And that's how we go through our journey. I mentioned this Pramod professor because he said, I just came from a hospital. And I start thinking about death. I'm 67 years old. He must be about 70, a little bit more than me. I said, after gardening, you sit down on a rocking chair, you start wondering when you're going to go, or you're going to join me and don't want to know when you die. Just die happy. Just keep helping people. See, another form of solution to death. Why you want to think about death when you have a chance to be so happy sharing these experiences with everybody? He's the first engineering professor in the top university in Nepal. So all these are golden key people that we can connect worldwide. It doesn't take you more than 1 month to get the worldwide golden key activated. You know, why would you want to take time? Everybody benefit. In the end, this thing is so open. God-gifted creativity allow you to think. For me, my experience is the more you give, the more you receive, according to all the holy books. And how do I use that? For accounting, for finance, for commerce, student, MBA student. Very simple. Network equal to net worth. Everybody knows that. If you have a big network, like lots of Obama, you know, your net worth increase. You got many more houses and driving Ferrari, yeah, or whatever cars that you want. But they forgot that network will break. What governed network equal to net worth is actually equal to trust. So you got NNT, network equal to net worth equal to trust. And where does the trust come from? The more you give, the more you receive, according to all the holy books. That is the trust. If you don't have that giving trust, your network will break. So you see, you can, Miro is a technology inventor. I think maybe we have the chance now to become ideas inventors. Everybody thinks that invention has to be based on programming and coding. But without that platform, I can't release my creativity to even delve into, because I hear things, you see, your mind becomes so sensitized. You hear somebody say, the more you give, the more you receive, according to all the holy books. Then how do you apply that idea? Is that part of trust to build network, to build money, net worth? Yes. Without trust, your network will break, your net worth will go down. Well, where does the trust come from? How do you justify trust? The more you give, the more you receive. If you don't trust each other, how can you give or receive? You give a little bit, you go to church, you go to temple, that's called giving. With ours, non-stop giving. That's what we experience today. The more we give, the more we receive. How could you stop that process? I didn't write the holy books, but it is what it is. You're going to ask anybody, do you believe in the more you give, the more you receive? I have never got a no, and I never read the holy books. I'm just educated by people. And that is the truth, that I have at least verified that is true. So I'm not sure about other people. By the way, don't give away your house. I'm not talking about that. Give away this technology. Don't blame me if you give your house, you never come back. But you give away Runlink, you see. People will fly you to, yeah, sorry.
Thank you so much, Peng. We're just running out of time a little bit here, so I'll have to stop the Q&A session here, but I will make sure to pass on both of your contact links for the internship and for if our members want to learn some more information. Just to quickly promote our next webinar for our members, we will be speaking with Dr. Valerie Keynes on the 28th of June at 12:30 Sydney time and 12 p.m. Adelaide time. The webinar link and registration will be sent out shortly. And now I'll pass it back over to Kat to end the webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Peng, it's been absolutely fantastic having you on. Thank you so much for joining us, Miro. We've all learnt an incredible amount, and we've got so much to think about going away. And we'll be sure to mention it all to all of our Golden Key members and get them all thinking on a different level. Thank you so much again for joining us.